The San Francisco 49ers just won in the most thrilling fashion ever. What a crazy way to end week 17 for the 49ers. The defense was atrocious, but it was enough in the end. The offense was sensational. And now the 49ers have a chance at the number one seed against the Seattle Seahawks. You couldn't write the script any better. 2019, Dre Greenlaw with the big stop. Maybe we can get something similar this upcoming week. But what I do know is this 49ers team all season long has fought their butts off and now has a chance to be the number one seed in the NFC. David and I are going to talk about this game plus more next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second, and it's post-game rant time. David, oh my gosh, I'm like out of breath. I was like so excited watching the end of that game and then trying to go live as soon as it ended. Oh my God, what a thrilling victory, man. How are you doing this evening?
There's so much. I mean, I'm sitting there with I'm in Decorah, Iowa. My sister used to work here, but we're just here with an Airbnb. Decorah is a really fun little town. But my dad's upstairs. My sister went to Iowa State, works at Iowa State. My mom and dad both went to Iowa State. They're up top, so they're big Brock Purdy fans. My son, obviously, and my wife. If you watch us watching that game, I don't think you'd ever doubt where our allegiance is. Oh my God! I mean, I tweeted out tonight. I said, "Man, it's 31 years of disappointment," and so that's like this year. I've been real like. I'll be honest, man. It'd been hard for me to buy all the way in initially because you just feel like you keep seeing this movie, right? You just keep seeing it, and it's like you fool me once, you fool me twice, you fool me 18 times. You're like, okay, I can't get too excited anymore. I can't. And now you're watching this team, and look, I don't care what you say. The Bears defense isn't gangbusters, but they're not horrible. You know, they limited a very good Packers offense to three.
Yes.
A couple weeks back. This offense is getting what they want, and you take away the pick six. I mean, you can say that you take away it, but like honestly, when we're going to talk about it a lot here, but this offense is playing with confidence. They got Kittle out, Trent Williams out on the first play of the game. I mean, and again, we've been thinking like this all year, Jesse. We were in Tampa when Fred Warner went out on the cart. We see Nick Bosa go out on the cart. It's like George Kittle not playing, and it just doesn't matter. And at some point, you got to say, like me included. I mean, Kyle and Brock right now, the offensive line, CMC, the whole unit is playing with this confidence that they're going to score on every drive. You know, they are just gelling. And the flip side of the coin is we've got a defense that can't stop a nosebleed. And so at the very end, when the Bears had to go for 4 down territory, we'll talk about that in a little bit more too. But I think that's the silver lining for now. I'm celebrating this because who would have thought? I don't care who you are on this app. Don't tell me you felt this way. No, there's not a single soul.
No way.
That thought this team was a number one seed caliber team before this. I don't think anybody was really thinking that before the year started. Once the injuries piled up, what this team has done is, and I've been Liam Cohen for Coach of the Year and going back and vacillating between Kyle Shanahan, but granted, I'm a biased Niners fan for what I see. I don't watch as many Jaguars games as intimately. What he's done with this skeleton crew, not only in defense, but on offense. And what he's been able to do, bringing in Mac Jones to play seamlessly within their offense en route to this point, which is a big part of them going for the number one seed next week in Levi's. That better be flexed to the top.
Oh, dude, you think about it, like you've got Three divisions on the line in week 18. This is exactly what the NFL hopes for. And you look across the board, it's like to be determined on when the games are going to be played. They've got to, man. Number one seed on the
Yes.
line. This has to be the prime time.
This is the game because, and granted, it's two West Coast teams and West Coast, but whatever, East Coast bias. But like you said, this isn't just for the division. This is for the one seed or the 5 or 6 seed. Now I can't
Yeah.
think about how this works now because the Bears, I think, were 11-4 going into this game, so now they're 11-5. So the Niners do have that tiebreaker, but the Bears are winning the division, so the Bears are going to be above there. So I think I have to look at that math later, but that's a huge. It's. I mean, these post game shows keep getting more climactic as we go on, and
Yeah.
I never would have thought. Everybody can go back and look at my bookmarks or look whatever else. And I have the full one to say, but I want to tell you, 43 years old, I've been a Niners fan my whole life. As long as I've been watching football, I've been a Niners fan. And my heart was left on the field and stomped into smithereens against the Baltimore Ravens, against the Kansas City Chiefs, against the Kansas City Chiefs again. I mean, every pulse of my heart was like tied to this team, like just. And so since then, I admittedly, it's been like, boy, you're going to have to show me. I can't do this to myself emotionally. And now they're kind of pulling me back in a little bit, but it's so this is exciting. And to have this be a storyline where you can not only get the number one seed, but host the Super Bowl. Now, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but I'm sorry, that's the storyline. And if these guys are making it, I'll tell you this: the defense scares me, no doubt about it. Do I think Fred Warner coming back at 70% will help? No. But this offense is scoring points, and at the end of the day, last time I checked, when you score 40 points a game, you win. Now, is it realistic for a team to score 40 plus points a game in the playoffs? Absolutely not. But this team is doing this with a skill position stable outside of CMC. Kittle's hurt. This receiver room, guys, they're workmanlike, but they're not special. And Brock showed me something tonight. You know, he had pick six, was classic Brock, kind of like sometimes having these boneheaded plays. Jennings didn't run a great route, to be fair, but it was still a play that Brock shouldn't have made. The fact is, he didn't go Eli Manning face like I texted you. He didn't sit there and get in his feelings. He went back out there and played with the same amount of confidence that he's been playing with the last 4 to 5 weeks. And just, that's the Brock I wanted. There was a Brock earlier in the season where he's worried about his foot or he's worried about whatever, or he's just kind of in his head trying to do too much like he did at Iowa State. And you'd see it in his face. You'd see him just like stack mistakes and stack this kind of malaise. I'm not seeing that on his face. I'm not seeing, and I know that sounds kind of anecdotal, or it sounds kind of like it's an intangible, but it matters. You know, confidence matters, and Brock's got it right now. And the biggest thing is Kyle has it in Brock, and I think that this offensive line, that's what I'd like to talk about, is everybody that's saying that they're going to go address that in the first round, they're not. Okay, when you're looking at this game, the Bears tried to apply pressure on Austin Pleasance. It didn't happen. This offensive, they're run blocking well. CMC, great vision tonight. And by the way, we'll talk about that too. But I mean, this is just a whole unit offensively. Teams don't want to play the Niners right now.
Yeah, you talked about something that's like an anecdote, but it's true. Like, do you remember when Phillip Rivers used to play Jay Cutler, and it was like two completely different players? Phillip
Yep.
Rivers had all the confidence in the world, and Jay Cutler would be sitting there like hands in the pads, just all mopey. It does matter, and you're right. I mean, we did see a little bit of that from Brock early on in the season, but right now he looks confident. He's playing confident. He was so sensational tonight. Like, this was my favorite Brock Purdy game by far, because he had to battle back from the very first play of the game. It was easy, would have been easy to go into a slumber, fall apart mentally. First play of the game, pick six. This is the Bears, who force more turnovers than anybody. then you lose Trent Williams on the same play. Like, it would have been easy to just go into a shell, and he did anything but. He was so damn good tonight. CMC was so damn good tonight. And CMC struggled early on in the year when
Yep.
George Kittle was not in there. The running game altogether struggled when George Kittle wasn't in there. Not only did they start the game without George Kittle, but then they lost Trent Williams. And we just talked about this a week ago, David. Trent Williams has missed a game every year for the last 10 seasons, at least one, and usually 2, 3, or 4. It hasn't happened this season. And then boom, play one. I mean, technically he started, right? So he didn't miss the game, but he in effect missed
Missed the
this
game.
game and might miss next week, which is not going to be great with the number 1 seed on the line, but it just didn't matter. This offense is humming, and they're going to go up against a very good Seattle defense next week, and we'll see once again if they can duplicate this. But right now, man, it seems like the only reason they don't score is if they make a mistake themselves. There is nothing that defenses can do to stop this offense right now. It is Kyle Shanahan's play calling is amazing. Brock Purdy's been absolutely sensational. That freaking play where he rolled out to his left, just juked Buddy out, and then threw it to Juszczyk in the corner was like one of the most incredible plays I've seen this year by a quarterback, period.
No.
Period.
And
I text you immediately, was like, bro,
yeah,
that right there was so damn good.
this
So
is
damn good.
this is what's got my mojo back. Because like 2 years ago, Jesse and I were at the NFC Championship game with tears in our eyes, man. Like that type of energy since the Super Bowl, and just some of the, it's just kind of like how to explain it. Just takes the wind out of your sails, and it's taken a while to get it back. I'm not gonna lie, like it really has. Like I think all those years of and to see, just to be, you're thinking like, my God, could it be another 30 years? Could it be, and right now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm not one of
Is
those
it going to
guys.
happen in my lifetime at all? Is the question, right?
And I think that's where it's like it's been so tempered within me, this fanatical fan that I am. And I've been very just calm watching games. I've just been very like, I don't get moved one way or the other this year because I just I'm ready for the worst. And I think this is really kind of like, whoa, this team is exciting. Like you're going in against Ben Johnson. And by the way, both Ben Johnson and both Kyle Shanahan called phenomenal games tonight. And both quarterbacks, Caleb Williams missed a couple throws. Brock missed a couple. Like these guys play within their offense. You see both these quarterbacks use their legs when they had to, but they didn't escape clean pockets. They weren't doing these things where they're trying to be heroes all the time. But when they had to, they made the plays that they needed to. And I think this is going to be fun because there's a very big possibility that these two teams see each other in the postseason. And to see that rematch, that'd be something.
Yeah, and I mean, it could be in Chicago, right? If the 49ers lose to Seattle. But it could also be back in Santa Clara if the 49ers get the number 1 seed. Oh my gosh, there's so many possibilities.
NFC Championship game.
To your point, the 49ers could be either the number 1 seed in resting or the 5 seed in playing Tampa or Carolina on the road in game 1.
Yeah, because I think the Packers are locked into 7. And
yes.
right.
And I don't think the Rams would have a tiebreaker over the 49ers because the 49ers NFC record is so good.
And so depending, because if the Rams win tomorrow, if the Rams win, because if the Niners lose, it doesn't matter, right? They're not going to be the number 1 seed. No, if the Seahawks win next week, the Seahawks are the 1 seed. If the Rams win against Atlanta and then Arizona, and the Niners lose next week, the Rams would be the 5 seed. The Niners would be the 6 seed.
Really? Okay.
Because the Rams would have a better record by 1 game.
Oh, they have the same record, don't they? Yeah, my bad. You're right.
Yep.
You're right. For some reason, I was thinking that the 49ers, because the Rams lose into Seattle, I was like, oh, that puts them. You're absolutely right about that. So then the 49ers would be going to Philly. Oh, yes. I don't want to start that. Get the bye.
If the Rams aren't losing in Atlanta, and they're definitely not losing to Arizona week 18, with Arizona finally probably going into the elegant tank. If the Niners lose, they're the 6th seed. If they win, they're the 1. That's a big shift, right? And so not only the one, but you get this beat up team that gets a chance to get their feet on the ground, come in and host a divisional game, and then be ready to sit there and host the NFC Championship game where Jesse and I were holding that American flag right on the tip of the Olympic Peninsula of Washington. I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys are going to the game, if you guys got tickets or you guys can find a way to do that, I can only imagine how electric it was there tonight. But boy, you say what you want about Levi's, but the playoff environment there is electric. I'm just crossing my fingers. And guess what? The weather this week, great. Weather's been torrential downpour in California. Right now, knock on wood, weather next week is going to be great again. And so this is good news for the 49ers. By the way, Levi's field, the field looked phenomenal tonight.
I know.
So I'm just hoping that stays the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess technically the possibilities are the 49ers could play the Eagles or the Bears. Curious to know what's going to happen there. Are the Eagles and the Bears going to actually play and go for seeding, or do they rest and take the essential bye? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there, but that's a possibility. So if the 49ers lose, they would play the Eagles or the Bears, depending on how next week goes. I'll take the Bears again. I think they can beat the Bears on the road. Right now, it would be the Eagles if they were the 6th seed, but because the Bears beat the Eagles head to head, so there's some possibilities, but it's either the 1 seed or the 6th seed most likely, because the Rams, I don't know. But see, then again, do the Rams rest their guys because they don't care about seeding, right? Like we'll take the bye week. Like I don't know. I don't know.
They've done that before. Yeah. The Rams have done that.
So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen here? All I know is that the number 1 seed is certainly the path that you want, because then you are at Levi up to and including through the Super Bowl. Fred Warner, I've been saying it for weeks that if they make it to a Super Bowl, Fred Warner 100% would be back. And it sounds like there's a big possibility that he could be back for the Super Bowl, possibly even the NFC Championship. Now, it doesn't sound like he would play a lot or be even like fully effective. I don't know what that would look like, but I can't imagine a scenario that the 49ers are in the Super Bowl that he doesn't at least suit up and play a little bit. I just can't imagine it.
And right now, the linebacking core guys, we've been gushing about the Niners, but this defense, guys,
man.
Stop. Look, Robert Saleh. My dad's like, I don't know what I think about this guy. I was like, but he doesn't follow the Niners closely, as we do.
Right.
But I'm like, Dad, like, let me walk you through. Like, we have Chase Lucas, and all this Lucas stands out. Like, guys, come on, man. Jason Pinnock, Daryl Luter, even the guys that are in there, like Upton Stout is a nice young player, but Tig Brown. Malcolm Mustafa.
Talk about a boom or bust, man. It's all or nothing with Tig, right? Like he's either making the most amazing play or giving up the worst touchdown of all time.
And D Winters, guys, like, has a nice little year on occasion, but like D Winters, a lot of times in these zone looks, he gets lost in the wash. And Tatum Bethune, like, he's a nice special teams player. He can lay the boom. But bro, like on that, when those touchdowns to Colson Loveland, you had Tatum Bethune 50 yards downfield in the end zone. Like, he ain't gonna win those matchups, man. Like, if that's where you got him. Like, and so I told him, I said, Dad, and Chris Collinsworth was saying, hey, they haven't really gone after Deommodore Lenoir. Well, this happened against the Niners too, about 6 years ago, where it wasn't so much that Richard Sherman was, or whoever it was, I can't remember what the situation was. It wasn't so much like Deommodore Lenoir is like Darrelle Revis. It's that the other guys on the other side, because Renardo Green's out and Upton Stout got hurt, like,
it was the Super Bowl year with Sherman, where it's like all of his numbers were amazing, and then he got to the Super Bowl and they picked on him like crazy. It was like, whoa, all right.
And because they were going after, I don't know if it was Akello or whatever, what player that was against. And so, again, it just, that being said, though, hey, the Niners just played a playoff team, right? Absolutely. They just played a division winner. The Bears are the division winner. So this is a playoff caliber team, and they beat them, and they put the beat down on them, and it saved that pick six. Like, this was a game where the Niners punted twice, the Bears punted twice. Like, this is just
it's just such a good game, man. Like, even like, remove your 49er fandom for a second and just look at it as an NFL game. How entertaining was that game to just watch and lose it? Because we're both big NFL guys, period, right? It has obviously the 49ers are our favorite team, but we just love it watching NFL football for multiple reasons, whether that, having some skin in the game or fantasy or just enjoying the game and analyzing it. And that was just an incredible game to watch
Yep.
with the number one seed still on the line. What a game. What a freaking game, man.
Well, and I think that when you look at that game, I told my dad, I said, the beginning of the game, I said, this game, in my estimation, and my dad, I wish he was down here, is I said, whoever has the ball last is most likely winning this game. Now, you flash forward to Chicago Bears. I actually thought Ben Johnson did a really good job of clock management, but he called the timeout to get it right on a 3rd and 5. And I think that was the kicker. And so when you were in that situation, they did a great job. They didn't want to give the Niners any time, which I totally understand. And they did get to the spot where they had that hook and ladder where it almost worked to get in the end zone, right? And so they got the 4 seconds left. I mean, if they just had if they had 7 seconds instead of 4, you've got 2 plays to the end zone, most likely, right? You're going to have a quick play, quick look, it's not their go, and 1st and goal. And the bottom line is they just ran out of time. And this really was, if they had a couple more seconds, I have no faith in this 49ers defense whatsoever. And so, I mean, it just really was that way. In game 60 minutes, not 60 minutes and 6 seconds. So the Niners did it. They bent. Well, they broke, bent all the way to 179 degrees, and then stopped them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wanted the Niners to win, so that's whatever. But like, if I'm just analyzing Ben Johnson and his clock management there, the hook and ladder is like a total boomer bust play, because if you don't get it, it turns into that. Also, with 4 seconds, I feel like you could literally snap the ball and throw a quick slant and just see if you get it in. And if not, then, you got a half set, you got a second left or whatever. I know that that's risky, but I just feel like you can get 2 plays in if you just go boom, boom,
I don't agree with you on the 2 plays. I do think that situation, that's where, knowing that, in my estimation, probably is, the odds are you don't want to be the coach that gets a playoff and you try to get cute with that and it doesn't work. And I think that's where the Niners are like, hey, we know this is the last play of the game. We don't have to sit here and send we can clog this up. And from the 4-yard line, I think it's a tough ask when they know that that's all you got.
Yeah. That burden drop became a big one. I mean, I know that they ended up still getting the first down there, but that was time. Maybe quite the Loveland drop. You could maybe question not taking the timeout and going and hurry up when there was around 40-ish seconds left. I don't know, maybe some little things you can quibble about, but ultimately both coaches were great. Both quarterbacks were great. Both defenses were awful. And that's what it was. But again, not to mince words and not for people to be like, oh, anything to take credit from Purdy. That defense didn't look good tonight, but that's because Purdy and that offense looked phenomenal, right? Like, that's because that Bears defense, no, they don't get a lot of pressure overall, but they do some things very well. And there's a lot of good players on that defense. I don't care what you say. There's some names over there that we all recognize and we all think are good players. So the 49ers offense is just on an astronomical level. Now, I always am curious to see the next one. I want to see it against Seattle. That we know that defense is elite. But man, I can't believe that we are here with the number one seed on the line. It just it blows my mind. It blows my mind that this is a possibility.
I can't believe
what if this was the year, man? Like, what? Like, truly, just think about it for a second. I know you don't want to like fully go there because it's happened so many times and we've come up short, but just imagine for a second that this was the year of all years. You would have never thought that with the talented teams that were there in 19 and 23 and 22. Like, it's just how of all the teams, this would be the team. That would be crazy.
And that's why I'm not going to say that. Just take this one game at a time, and I think next week, the big key in both these games for this game, for both teams, was neither team was able to generate much pass rush. Both teams had some batted balls to the line of scrimmage a couple of times, but there were a couple of times where you had to leave a pocket, but it wasn't like just guys in your lap all the time. Both these guys had time to throw, and even in a clean pocket does not mean that the pocket has to be 2 Mack trucks wide. right? Clean pocket's just like, hey, I got space, I got time, I'm not getting hit. I can maybe step up a little bit. I can go to my left or right a little bit, but I don't have to panic. And neither quarterback had to, and neither quarterback did tonight. And I think that was the other thing about that pick six was Brock wasn't panicking. It was just it's a bad decision. And just to shake that off and not get in his head, because we saw against Carolina, he didn't shake it off. Right.
No.
Like, and it just kept compounding and compounding and compounding. And he was healthy. And so those are the things that when you see that, when guys get like frustrated, like, oh, or the play with the illegal hands to the face, where it was the jam on Ricky Pearsall at the line of scrimmage by I think it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson,
Okay,
yeah, then he got the pick.
Ricky just kind of tucked his chin down, and he was going to go jam him in the chest, but then Ricky put his head down. And so because of that, he just kind of hit the bottom of the face mask, which didn't throw his route off any more than it would have jamming his shoulder. Now, is that illegal hands to the face? Yes.
Yes.
Did it have any bearing on the interception that got nullified? No. Right. And so those are the type of things where you don't want to be making those plays. But guess what? Brock's not the only guy that does that. And when Brock is sitting there making plays outside the pocket and having fun doing it, like you could see he's just toying with those guys. And and guess what? Caleb Williams had the opportunity to do the same thing at the end. And I don't blame him, but it just wasn't, it just missed, it just wasn't there.
DeAndre Swift took a shot at Brock when he got that final touchdown. Did you catch that where he started to do the Dougie and then threw it away or whatever? Yeah. Like, I mean, it was all in good fun, right? But it was one of those things where it was like, oh, we'll see. Like, you might have the last laugh or it might come back to bite you, and it came back to bite. And speaking of DeAndre Swift coming back to bite, we're gonna go to our sponsor a little bit later in Sleeper. But in fact, we can just do it now before we get to the super chats. Let's just go to Sleeper and look at the contest that I entered for tomorrow. But let's be clear. DeAndre Swift cost me a cool $90 or so. He was the only miss on tonight's game that I had. I had the more, I think, on Purdy, Caleb, and then one more. And then Swift, all he needed was 12.5 carries. And I think he ended up with 9 or 10. It was like, oh, man, come on. Of all things, that's what I missed on. But such is life. Here's the contest that I've entered for Monday Night Football. Make sure that you use promo code LSS to get your 100% deposit match of up to $100. You can also get a free $20 play without even making a deposit if you use the same promo code. Right now through New Year's as well, if you sign up using my promo code and you DM me or email me that you've done so with a screenshot, you'll be entered to win a Bosa jersey, and not just any jersey, it's a rivalry jersey. So be on the lookout for that. All right, here's the picks for tomorrow night. I got Matthew Stafford more on the 268.5, Kyron Williams more on the 63.5, Puka Nacua more on the 107.5, and Mooney needs just 2 receptions. All right, can you get me 2 receptions? Yes. Don't let this be the reason that I lose. Those are the picks. So you can tail me, you can fade me, but either way, use promo code LSS. Link is pinned to the top of the description. All right.
Some good picks, man.
You like it?
I do. I mean, I don't think Drake London. I think Drake London might not play tomorrow. I don't know. So yeah.
Yep. We'll see. All right, we got some super chats. Brent Ruiz, a new member. Appreciate you, Brent. Brother Bob trying to bait me, saying Purdy's better than Allen. Appreciate you. He was today, though, that's for sure. 49er D says, bang, bang. What a stressful game from the beginning to end. It was stressful, but I don't know. Okay. Sometimes there are games that you're on the edge of your seat. And don't get me wrong, that whole final drive, I was on the edge of my seat. But when the 49ers had the ball, I knew that it's like I just had the confidence that they were going to score the touchdown. And then I was hoping that they could also drain the clock. Now, once that didn't happen, I got very nervous. But throughout the course of the game, I wasn't really nervous. Like I felt like they were in control for the most part. You got the pick 6, but then you score the touchdown, you get a stop, you score another touchdown. And from that point on, I know that it was close, but I just felt like the 49ers were in full control until that final drive. Then it was very, very stressful. Either way, it was a lot of fun. All Niner says, wow, what a game. This is the most fun I've had watching a Niners team in a long time. We've been saying this, man. I've been saying this. I hope CMC is okay. He was gritting through pain. Yeah, that's another one, right? Like, we know he's going to continue to play, but that back thing was an issue. And then he didn't miss any games because of it, but it crept up right after the bye week, remember?
Is that what this was? He was back?
Yeah, he kept like stretching. It was almost like he's had a lot of like oblique and lower back things. But they kept using that gun on like the lower back, and he was trying to stay loose, but that back crept up on the injury report right after the bye week heading into the game against Tennessee, if I remember correctly. And he hasn't missed any time, but he definitely was showing a little bit of wear from that. So that the back thing, it seems to be real for sure.
Hmm.
Brother Bob says we better keep using Tonjes, damn it. He's good. I know, man. And him and Kittle together, like
Bro,
you go watch what Chicago has in Komet and Loveland, and you see it in Buffalo with Knox and Kincaid. You see it in the Ravens and Andrews and Likely. The 49ers absolutely have that at their disposal. Tonjes is a really good player, like especially as a number 2 tight end. He's a great option. You would like to see it more. You absolutely
I
would
agree.
like to see it more.
100%.
Cryptic says no Trent, no Bosa, no Warner, no Kittle, no problem. Niners in 5 home games. Let's go, man. I know it's absolutely crazy. Ryan Andrews says I can't get past how bad the defense was tonight. I know, and is it, you were texting me this. You said, "Gosh, this defense has been awful tonight," and I said, "As bad as the defense has been, the offense has been just as good." On the other side, like the offense is so amazing and the defense is so bad. It's hard to figure out how long you can keep this up. And you would assume it would happen in the playoffs, but they just played a playoff team and they're about to do it again. Let's say they put up 30 plus on Seattle and it looks pretty easy and they win that game. Are we sure that they can't do that throughout the course of the
No.
playoffs?
The defense, though, has been buns against good offenses all year. And they've been buns
Yes.
against bad offenses all year. Like
Yeah, I know.
in certain situations. But like when you go to the Rams, both Rams games, Rams walked all over us. All over us. Right.
Yep.
Again, shouldn't surprise anybody. And I'm not trying to throw shade at you, Ryan, because I'm with you. But I think this shouldn't surprise anybody. Like I was trying to tell my dad, like, this is the NFL and these guys are like JV all-stars. Like this is a ragtag bunch of group. Like there's guys here that are playing. There's guys that are starting for the 49ers right now that would not be backups for certain teams. And I'm not saying all, but at certain positions, I mean, every backup that's been getting regular minutes is not a replacement level player. Like they're not a guy that you're like, oh, this guy's going to be get a little bit of seasoning and they're going to be good next year. No, they're just filling space, right? These guys are just like, and it doesn't mean their career's over. Like you need depth. You need guys coming off the bench in waves on occasion. But these aren't guys that are going to go get a second, third contract, right? Like this is just it's and that shouldn't surprise anybody. And so the fact that they're able to keep doing this, I think that's the thing, is that the Niners have to be perfect. Brock and this offense and Kyle have to have everything go right. And I think Ben Johnson felt that way about his team tonight. He's like, everything had to go right, including at the end where you just ran out of time. And that's not a great feeling going into the playoffs, but for the Niners, they're playing with house money, right? They at the trade deadline. Oh, by the way, for all the people watching, I'm not, or anybody else that's on the TL, okay, that say, hey, how come you didn't think the Niners could do this? Neither did the Niners. At the trade deadline, Keon White was the big move. Okay. This team, it wasn't like, oh, we've got faith. He said, no, we've got faith to compete. Jesse and I both said, I think this is a smart move. This is a prudent move. This isn't a Super Bowl team, right? This isn't a team that Kyle and John really think have a chance. I think, though, that they said, hey, we believe those guys. And both Jesse and I know said this multiple times. You do what you can with the guys in the building. You fight like hell to be there. And if you can do it, awesome. But you don't compromise the future for Band-Aids when you've got the pillars of your team, your foundation is crumbled. It's very normal for teams to not hit the panic button and try to run it back with these. And so when you see defensive performances like this stacking up, and when your starting quarterback is already hurt, and you've got your backup Ben Mack who played well in his stead, but still, that's enough to give you pause to not be irrational and do something crazy. But the Niners didn't think this was going to be their year either. And all of a sudden, we're at December 28th, okay? On January 4th, on January 4th, we're sitting here at home winning the number one on the year that you were hosting the Super Bowl at Levi's. I don't think you could have written this as any more of a Cinderella story for a team that had been just gutted all year long.
Yeah, I mean, we watched, it's kind of crazy to think about. So 49ers lose to Tampa. We're at that game.
Yep.
They lose Fred Warner in that game.
Yep.
Tampa at that time had a ton of injuries, right? A ton of injuries and a lot of good players that were out and that ended up coming back, and we knew they were coming back.
Yep.
The 49ers had already lost Bosa. Then they lost Fred Warner. At that point, Purdy was out. Pearsall had been out. Kittle had been out. We didn't know what was going to happen with Ayuk. If you would have told me at that point that one team was going to absolutely fall off from this point on, and one team was going to turn up and have a chance at the number one seed, looking at the schedules down the stretch, looking at the rosters, who was coming back and who was out, absolutely would have taken Tampa at that point to be the team that's fighting for the number one seed. And that just hasn't been the case. Tampa's looked awful. The 49ers have looked absolutely amazing. You couldn't have picked this. You just couldn't have picked this. And if somebody did, listen, if somebody's got proof they did, more power to you, brother or sister. Like, that's amazing. But I couldn't have picked this. I absolutely wouldn't have picked this ever. So I love it. I love it. Propa says, I just wanted to let everyone know I will be suiting up to play linebacker next week. Just got a call from John. Hey, man, good luck. Don't pull a hammy. Be good to go. Breathe says, this is your third my favorite Brock Purdy game this year. Are you talking about like this year or either way? I don't know that I've said it's my favorite. I think what I've said is, like, against Cleveland, for example, I said that that was his most impressive performance. Like, I was more impressed with Cleveland than I was against Arizona, for example. Stats aside, just what happened, what was at stake, who you were playing, the conditions, everything. So I think I've said I'm more impressed with certain games, but this is like genuinely like my favorite. Like, just as a fan and watching your quarterback play, what's your favorite Brock Purdy game? Outside of I would say Miami when he first came in and captured everybody's imaginations, and probably Tampa, because right after that it was like,
Tampa game was
boom,
great.
back to back. Yeah. Outside of those two, this would be my third. This would be number three. Just favorite game of watching him play. This would be my third.
Yeah, and I would have to go back and look at that, but I feel like as far as like just watching games where I'm judging my emotional reaction to it, I would say those Miami and Tampa games. And I think that was also, though, not to invoke quarterback of Christmas past, but Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, I've fallen in love with a lot of guys on this team, right? Like over my nearly 4 decades of fandom. And I think sometimes that's what you got to go for. It's like when you read a book or a novel or watch a movie for the first time, so it's those emotional reactions, even though they can sometimes not be logical. I think that Tampa Miami, where you got this guy where the Mr. Irrelevant storyline was still so fresh, and for me as an Iowa State fan to watch that what already looked so improbable, and I think now as we're looking at this season, which looked equally as improbable, there's again that undercurrent from 2022 that is back again, right? Like there's that undercurrent of we didn't think this could happen. Right, there's this undercurrent of house money, and I think it's something that we started thinking like, hey man, we're 49ers fans. We've gotten so close. We're driving like Maseratis, like this is a Maserati, and then all of a sudden it felt like I'm like in a rental beater with all these different injuries. And I just can't believe it anymore, right? I can't get in. I can't put myself through that. And I think what we're seeing here is like, hey Dave, like, you know what? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, I'm sorry, guys. Like we always used to say, weapons being an issue. The weapons are not an issue. Granted, have we played a stellar defense? been done this? Probably not. But how many stellar defenses are there in the NFL, even in the playoffs? Guys, like, when you get to the playoffs, you're going to see a Rams defense that's pretty good, but the Rams defense can be had. We've seen that against Seattle, right?
They have a lot of good names, but their defense
Yes,
is not.
they're
I
they're
think it's
way
so overrated.
they're very overrated. The Seahawks defense. Now that's the thing. We're gonna see those guys next week, right? That is a defense that does give me. I think of all the teams. Well, of all the teams in the NFC, the team that I think really when they're hitting on all cylinders is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Philly, yeah.
Now, does Jalen Hurts problem? No, but it's defensively and like when they're working as in sync as an offense and like having the defense not give them the confidence they don't have to be special every step of the way. That's a team that I think can apply pressure on you in so many different ways from every tier of the defense. And I think that's when you look at the Niners and you're like, woof, like there's not a team in the playoffs that's going to look at the Niners defense and be like, I'm even concerned in the least bit. Like, and I think that's the other thing that's just kind of I'm not getting too hot or cold because I still know that this defense is not going to be David and Goliath. Like, they're not going to like just get a pick six on every drive because that's about what they got to do to gamble to win. Like they can't. This is not a defense that has the capability to put their thumb in the dam and withstand the tide. Like they're going to give up points. The Niners offense is going to have to score 30 points a game. We've seen that the last several weeks.
Yes.
It's what's going to have to happen. But you know what? If that's the case, so be it. And I kind of like that attitude. And I kind of like that demeanor from Kyle. Kyle's been going for it on fourth and threes, fourth and fives. Like he was reluctant to punt it on 4th and 7 from the 47.
I know he was.
And I respect that because it's like you hate punting inside the 50. It's gross. It just makes you. And
your defense can't stop anything right now.
And it happened the next drive. They punted, they put it on the 11-yard line, and 30 seconds later, they're back at the midfield. Bears. So it's like those are the things, though, I think you're learning about this defense, though. When your defense is that bad, the kind of cool little silver lining is you can be a little bit more aggressive on offense without feeling guilty about it. Like, and then all of a sudden, it lets you just be you. And I think sometimes that if there is a silver lining on this defense being so horrific, is that you would say, hey, it's on us. We're good. We know they're not going to back us up on that side of the ball. So let's go be us every single play. And if it's 4-down territory, let's go. I love it.
Yeah. And, this is kind of something that I've been talking about for a couple seasons, and it's just now coming to fruition. But this is a team that's going to have to be led by their offense. And when you have an offensive-minded head coach and you have a quarterback that you've paid and you have an MVP candidate or offensive player of the year on your team in CMC and an all-time great tight end, you have to eventually be led by the offense. And they finally fully are. Yep. And they're embracing it. They're absolutely embracing it. And it's a lot of pressure. It is. And it's going to be a lot of pressure through the playoffs. But, either way, like they're handling it really, really well right now. So Joseph says that Bethune flag was unacceptable. Both of them were. Let's not forget he had one early in the game too. Brock looked, I like what you're doing. This is a thing. Just let him do it. It's working. 808 Niner says, Kyle is the man. That's why I'm always so critical of him. This man is Santa pulling plays out of his bag. But where was this dude in the past? This Kyle should have a Super Bowl by now. Saleh has me concerned. I don't know that Saleh has me concerned, though. Like, a week ago, I definitely was like, hey, he sat back a little too much. I would like to see it. But today, he was really dialing up some fun things. I mean, there were a couple times where he got timely pressure and free rushers. Keon White, stopped a whole drive because of that. So you can only do so much, man. You can't.
If Tik Brown,
he's not Jesus Christ, all right? He's not turning water into wine here, all right?
Well, Tik Brown got a couple interceptions one game. And of course, I think I don't remember if he got defensive player of the week for that or something stupid, because that's just like for all those in the comment. Like, I'm not trying to sun anybody, but like people get obsessed about defensive backs getting interceptions, and they think that if they get interceptions, particularly 2 in a game, that they're awesome players. Mm-hmm. Typically, safeties that get interceptions are Johnny on the spot because quarterbacks make horrific decisions. Okay. There are people that have ball skills or things like that. Sauce Gardner a couple of years ago had no interceptions. Why? Because they weren't throwing at him, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think all of a sudden this idea that Tik Brown can cover. Well, if you think that, you you do not know ball on any level. Like, he is a complete liability. Salah does, they have no choice but to trot these guys out there. They just do not. Salah is not the general manager. He's also not in control of who's getting hurt.
No,
And
no.
I think the fact that there have been a lot of games this year where, despite the attrition, this defense has afforded itself very well. I think what you're seeing right now, though, when you start to go again, now the Colts are a little bit different. My God, Phillip Rivers shot putting passes. I mean, I put myself through watching him do that against the Jaguars today again too, and like, I don't know how they kept it close. That's my concern, though, is that if you're going to go up against the Rams, if you're going to go up against the Bears, and I'm not saying Jalen Hurts or whatever, but I also think Jalen Hurts sometimes, like, hey man, this guy almost won 2 Super Bowls, he's got one. When you're going against the Eagles, they want to use his legs. Like, these are teams that can play. If the Lions are in the playoffs, these are teams that could score some points. Tampa, Carolina, Green Bay, who knows what's going on with them right now. But all of a sudden, like, there's only those teams are going to be able to put points on the board. But I'm not so I don't think there's a defense in this conference outside of maybe the Eagles, who truly, I could say, scare me. I don't think the Eagles, like, it's not like the 85 Bears. So
they don't scare you. They scare you in a sense of, like, you might not get to 30, and so because of that, it might not be enough.
That's
right,
Jesse, exactly what was in my mind percolating through, is that the Niners, what we've seen, and I think we can establish this. I think this is a law now. I think the Niners have to score 30. I think the Niners have to score more than 4 touchdowns to win a football game. And against good competition, not elite competition, right? And I think that's the thing that's making me say, I'm still playing with house money. I'm not going to get emotionally invested, because at some point we know that the offense will not be able to completely cover up that pick six or a drop pass or an untimely penalty or what have you, a missed field goal, things down the line. And so when they're scoring points in bunches, it's awesome. But if they had to punt just one more time in this game, it's a loss.
I know. That's crazy to think about. Cheeto says, Purdy and CMC just won fantasy for me. Also, what in the hell? Yeah, well, excuse me? Pause. Listen, you only have so many characters, so I'm going to let you off the hook here, but that's, Also, what in the hell is with this D? We are one and done if they can't make a stop.
That's
yeah,
true.
well, I mean, it depends on who they play. We just kind of went through the scenarios, but possible one and done. Yeah, we'll see. Josh Dowling says, Brock looks like he's playing Madden on rookie mode. He low-key kind of does right now. I'm not going to lie.
I want to say, when Brock, we saw this, like, there was a stat that came up where he's incredibly efficient on his first read, but he's been bottom 3 in the NFL of starters this year on efficiency for all you David Lombardi fans about EPA, past his first read, right? Which again kind of screams that idea of, like, hey, those of us or you or whomever people are talking about, like this is a Kyle Shanahan quarterback, this is a Kyle Shanahan system. And I think there's truth to that when you watch Kyle Shanahan play. Like, but when you watch Brock play today, you could clearly see that Brock is more than just a fill-in. He's more than just a product of Kyle. Does Kyle elevate this offense and help put him in positions to do well? Yes, absolutely. I will also say this, though. When Brock is given a clean pocket, we've talked about this before with metrics, there are fewer quarterbacks in the league that are as efficient as Brock in this offense. Again, the pass protection tonight was impeccable. And to have that pass protection be impeccable, virtually the only play that Trent Williams played tonight was the pick six.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And that wasn't his fault. But, like, after that, Trent Williams didn't step on the field. And you still had impeccable pass protection. You had the one sack, the big sack where he got almost decapitated from behind. That was, though, after he bought himself time outside the pocket, right? That was a hustle stack. That wasn't just like, oh, the guy's in my lap immediately. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And I don't blame him for that either. It's like trying to make a play. So That's the thing, though. I want to wonder is you just went up against a depleted Colts defense, and it's Bears. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who these guys. I don't. But if Trent Williams can't play, you got to think if a DC has time to look at what they're doing and dialing up. And if that hamstring, guys, we've talked about this. It feels like this is a broken record, right? Talking about guys with injuries that are key players, pillars, foundational players, right? It's a hamstring, man. And if that hamstring took you out like right away, and you're taking your tape off, if it's just like even a grade 2 tear, which is like even like a small tear, it's like not like a rupture, you're out for a month. Like
I know,
100% out for a month. Because in that position, like you're going to tear that hamstring. Like it's not if. Like if you play on it, you will tear it further. And Trent just got done saying to on the post game last week, I got several more years in me. And then this week, unfortunately, this happens, and this is not something that's going to go away. And again, as somebody who's had the same injury, try as you might, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Like you're like, oh my God, I can walk. Oh, I'm fine. And then all of a sudden you like twitch in a certain position. Now imagine being 300 plus pounds and anchoring to stop and have to have the agility to move the way he does in this scheme. Like it ain't, and the amount of torque and force it's going to be interesting. I doubt he plays next week.
I do too. It's tough though, because okay, we know that Trent's going to give everything he can to play. Let's say he does the Devontae Adams thing where it's like, no, I know my body, I'm good. Look at what happened to Devontae Adams. And McVay and the Rams played with fire for 2-3 weeks on that hamstring, and it finally gave. I know the number 1 seed's on the line, but I would rather have a healthy Trent Williams, if that's possible. To your point, it's a hamstring. It may not matter, but at least the possibility of a healthy Trent Williams come playoff time. And even if that means that you're on the road, so be it, versus going in, getting the number 1 seed and then losing Trent for the playoffs. Like that cannot happen. That can't happen.
But also a compromise. We're not talking about fighting through. So I think for those of you who've never, and I'm not comparing myself to an all-pro Hall of Fame player, but if you've never had a hamstring injury, it's not like, oh, I'm fighting through a high ankle sprain, which I think you could go, well, get some cortisone in that and be whatever, right?
Yeah.
You can't put cortisone in a hamstring tear, right? Like they're not going to inject, like that'll end up rupturing them. Like you can't, you don't fight through that. Like, and I know people like all these, it just doesn't happen. And so if it is that, and if it's enough to put them out, like, you hope that he's as healthy as possible. And the flip side of this is Kyle has been known to say, just like Sean, like you said, they're playing with fire. Kyle's not above playing players when they shouldn't be playing. I'm not trying to say Kyle's a horrible person, but like these are NFL coaches. They want to win, right? And these players they want to contribute.
Yep.
And I get it. It's the number 1 seed, but the Niners are in the playoffs. They know that. They know they're not fighting next week to get in the door. And they know that if they lose, they're probably the 6th seed. I get it. But that means they're probably heading to Chicago. Okay. And they just saw the Chicago team. Do you think the Chicago team scares them that much? I mean, hey, they put them on the ropes, but like they know they can play with the Chicago team. They 100% know that.
Yeah, they definitely do. And yeah, if you don't believe that Kyle will play someone when they're injured, look no further than Jacksonville Jaguars and Brock Purdy. Like we already know this. Like we saw this. There's a reason that Brock missed so many more games because he came back too early. Like that was, and again, a lot of that is the player's choice too. It's not like Kyle Shanahan's solely at fault. Players want to play, newsflash, and coaches want to win. And that's what happens. So, but you talked about that hit from behind. That was very close. And immediately the first thing I thought of, Leonard Marshall, Giants, hitting Joe Montana from behind. That was the immediate vision that came across my mind. I was like, oh, God.
I watched that game, and here as I have a lamp right in front of me. Okay.
Yeah.
I can remember being, I think it was 7, 8 years old. I can't remember what year, how old I was at that. kids are going crazy on the top floor of the Airbnb. I broke a lamp in my living room seconds after Leonard Marshall beat. That's how rabid of a fan I've been. I can remember the wallpaper, what it looked like. I can remember tears streaming down my cheek. I remember the itchy couch that we had in the living room. It was garish wood trim, and just being distraught. And I think I threw it into my Nintendo. And and so you bringing that back just brought like a core memory for me. And so yeah, like that was that's and now that's when you bring that up. And I'm not going to manifest this, but boy, the more players that have gone out, and then you got CMC grabbing the back, and is there somebody else next? Right? Like that's what's in my head. That's like I just can't get it out. I don't want it there, but I'm like I always expect the worst.
Brother Bob says the NFL is mid, no dominant team. We can win a Super Bowl. Yeah. I mean, you're
100%.
right. Not at all the best 49er team, but they're not going against the best competition they've ever played.
I will say this though. The AFC, I'm not saying these are world beaters, but
no, but there's better teams in the AFC.
This defense is not stopping anybody. There are defenses that you will face in the Super Bowl if they can get there, right?
Yeah.
That are going to give you problems. And
yes,
there are plenty of offenses that will continue to give this defense problems. And so, you just got to, I mean, I'm all about it. 4 down territory, abolish the field goals. Let's go.
Larry Woodard gifts 5 memberships. I appreciate you, Larry. You're the man. B for 40 says, okay, Jesse, just today, Purdy was better than Allen. What say you? Is he on Allen's level now? I'm not sure. Yeah, I already said that earlier. He was absolutely better than Allen today. Yep. And that's, by the way, being the best quarterback, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the game doesn't mean you're the best week in and week out. Like, that's just not how it works. It just means the compilation of what you are the best. But yes, of course, Brock was better today.
And I texted Jesse to Kyle. Josh had a huge miss today, right? Like,
oh yeah, we were texting about it right away. Yeah, yep. Josh Allen says at the podium, Kyle said Brock needs to throw that pass every time. It was a good read, good pass, good route by JJ. Was just a great drive by the defender. Yeah, I mean, Kyle always will say those things. He says a lot of things. It's completely. We haven't really spent any time on it, right? It was the first play of the game, and the only time we spent on it was to say how great it was that Brock battled back and played phenomenal. But it's also okay to just admit, like, yeah, probably not ideal.
But what I like with Kyle here, though, is, again, we've known that the pressers are it's fluff, it's coach speak, it's whatever. But what Kyle's doing here is saying, hey, I am not raining on Brock's parade. We're saying exactly what Jesse is, and I say without saying it. It's like, look at what he did coming back from that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, hey, I'm not going to sit here and throw my starting quarterback under the bus after the performance he just had after that one mistake. I'm not going to sit here, perseverate on it. I'm not going to sit here and give you a talking point. That's what you're trying to do to maintain that confidence. If we're talking about how important that confidence is, confidence that I believe a lot of quarterbacks in this team over the years have lost. Jimmy Garoppolo, Colin Kaepernick, you name it, right? Like, I think that's calculated on Kyle's part.
Yeah, it definitely is. Zach Bowen says, I miss a sleeper because 23 didn't score the first TD. Thanks, Brock. Adrenaline is finally leveling out. Hey, I think we'll forego our sleeper for a 49er win. I remember when there were seasons where I would be doing really good in fantasy, but it was like, I'll take a fantasy loss if it means a 49er win this week. Like, it means that much more to me. So Ryan Andrews says, if Brock keeps playing like this, we got a franchise quarterback on our hands. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Cheeto says, I do agree that this was one fun and hella stressful game. I loved it after I saw that ball skip on the ground. Also, Tonjes is Kittle light. I love him. I don't know about you, but like the way that play ended, there was something that like flashed on the screen, and for a half a second, I thought they threw a flag, and I was like, no, you're not going to give them an extra play right now. Right, to end this game with 0 time on the clock, and that's how they're going to lose. I had that half second of panic and then realize, okay, it's actually over. Like we're good to go. Trayvon says this game was very reminiscent of us versus the Saints in 2019. This is a very good point.
That's
Two
probably,
very good teams. This is good callback. Good
probably my
callback. I
favorite.
like this.
That's probably my favorite 49ers regular season game of the 21st century.
Let's hope that the follow-up game is not the same, because if you remember, they played the Ravens the next week and lost in the rain. It started out well. Deebo Samuel up the sideline, jump ball, get the touchdown, and then after that, the Ravens just kind of dominated the game. So hopefully that doesn't happen with Seattle. Hopefully they can get another 2019 moment and the Dre Greenlaw big play at the goal line. That would be great.
I can just remember Eric Armstead biting on every Lamar Jackson fake, and like Lamar Jackson's running right by him. It's rough.
Yeah. 808 Niner says Tonjes will be Juice's replacement. Yeah, but he can't play. If that's the case, then you just have to go with two tight ends and stop with the whole need a fullback on the field.
This offense can run without Juice. We've seen this tonight, guys.
Yeah, perfectly fine.
This offense is perfectly fine without Juice.
Yes. Larry Woodard says, I love this team. I love the fight for everything. I know. And I was saying that when Mac was playing, that this is my favorite Niner team in the Shanahan era, because of that. Like it didn't matter. They were battling all the way through, and that fight is still there. Like it wasn't just because of Mac Jones. I think he was a big part of it for sure. But tonight was a great example of that. Like this team, this Bears team had won this way 6 different times this year. 6 different times, and they had a chance to do it again, and it was close, but it was the Niners that made the one extra play and were able to get it done. So, yes, incredible stuff, man. 49ers fan for life says, I'd rather have Brock over Allen. Drake and Bo are the new faces of the AFC. Bo Nix, come on, man. Mahomes, is Josh's kryptonite. We'll be back next year. Lamar, bye-bye. Okay, your drugs are bad. I appreciate the super chat though. This brother Bob says pheasants. Pleasance pheasants. Wow, Pleasance was actually pleasant, but we need Trent. Yes, and you know the Bears aren't the best pass rush anyway. So I don't think that was a test. If Pleasant plays next week, you're going to see him tested big time against a very, very good Seattle front. Very good Seattle front. Larry says, why not this team? Our great D's in the past, fold in the fourth on the Super Bowl. Maybe an offense can do it. Just maybe. Go Niners. Well, again, like if I'm just comparing Niner team to Niner team, this team player for player doesn't hold a candle to some of those other teams, but the competition also doesn't hold a candle. So here we are. Like this is how things happen. You're playing against this year, not like ghosts of Niners past. You're playing the 2025, 2026 season, and this competition is not what it was in 2019, for example. Prapa says, making us play a short week so the Steelers-Ravens can play on Sunday night is so whack. Defense, is that what they ended up doing? Steelers-Ravens is what they went with? Gosh, all right. My son's going to hate that too because he's got school. No, he doesn't have school the next day. He's going to be able to watch it. Never mind. He's a Ravens fan. Steelers-Ravens can play on Sunday night is so whack. Defense should be rested since they didn't play football today, though.
That's not... That's not, they don't owe the 49ers or the Bears anything to make them play. It's not a short week. They're playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's an hour, but
it does suck that they're not there. They should be the primetime game.
I believe that. I wanted this to be a primetime game myself. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is I don't think that it's whack that's not a short week.
And the 49ers are at home. They have zero travel. Zero travel. So,
2 hours.
Yeah. The Only Flav says, realistically, how many guys can we get this offseason with $100 million we have coming off the books? Can we get a whole new defense? $100 million coming off the books. I forget what the number was. I want to say it was like 30-something million in cap space or something like that. No, you're not going to be able to revamp everything, and you don't want to do it through free agency anyways. You got to continue to build through the draft. And remember that you're getting Bosa, Fred, and your number one draft pick and Michael Williams back. Like that's getting infused into the defense no matter what. So I say
Yeah.
go get a guy and draft well again.
Stop.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
a short week. I thought you meant they were playing a 325 game. They are playing Saturday night, January 3rd. The Seahawks and Niners.
No. What?
Yes, they are putting the 49ers on a short week. With the Seahawks
Shut up, dude.
Now the Seahawks are also getting a short week though.
Yeah.
It is Saturday night, January 3rd. You and I will have a post game show that night. It's actually perfect because I'm driving back from Minneapolis on the 4th, and I really did not want to have to rush back for a 3:00 game. So it is a short week. We have the Saturday slate of games. It's going to be Carolina and Tampa for the NFC South at 3:30 on Saturday, January 3rd, and 7:00 on ABC ESPN. It is the Seahawks at the Niners at Levi's Stadium in prime time.
Okay. Silver lining. Oh, and never mind. The NFL is going to do this anyways. Niners most likely, if they lose, would play next Saturday. That's usually what they do. So never mind. I was going to say silver lining. You get an extra day going into the playoffs, but that's not going to be the case. Wow, everything said to be determined January 4th. I didn't realize that they were going to do a Saturday game.
Yep, two Saturday games.
Two of them, I know. Yeah, that's all right. Well, all right. But no, Flav, I wouldn't expect like a huge overhaul. And I don't know that they need it with that influx of players coming back. You get a guy and then draft well. That's it. Sean says Stafford 457, Bryce 54. How many yards does Brock need? Stafford 457, Bryce 54.
Not sure.
Sorry, I don't understand the question, Sean. Do appreciate the super though. Alan says when Fred does come back, who should be playing linebacker?
Fred.
Him, Bethune, and Winters?
I mean, I don't know. Like they don't have options. I mean, there's no revolving. There's no, it's just you got what you got.
No. Yeah. Prapa says love Saleh. Not his fault, but the personnel is crap. But does he get 0% of the blame? No. I'm not saying that. I just, when Fred Warner went down, I said this way back when, and so I'm going to do a callback to it because this is exactly how I still feel about the situation. When he went down, I said the performance is not going to be how I judge Robert Saleh because he cannot control players, making boneheaded mistakes or not having enough talent on the field. What he can control is how much he dials up good play calls. And at times, he still does this rush for, sit back in zone coverage and get picked apart. Last week was a great example of that. This week, he dialed it up more. So I'm judging him solely off of that rather than the results of how many points are given up. That, me personally.
I would also say that, again, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Michael Williams, Bernardo Green, a host of other players that they've held their own in many instances this year. But when you go up against a Ben Johnson, this was what was going to happen. Like I try to tell my dad, I don't know. Like the NFL, like the fall off from a starting caliber player to a backup player. And a backup player isn't always a backup on all teams. They could be a third or fourth string on another team. When you're going from like
especially elite caliber player starter. Yeah.
So you're going a Hall of Fame caliber player to third or fourth string caliber player. Guys, like this is like it's like when they try to do these things with the replacement players in baseball back in 1994, 93. Like this is for those of you old enough to remember that. The product isn't good.
No.
And these guys are elite play callers. These are elite players. They're going to exploit it. They're going to make you look dumb. They're going to make you look as dumb as you are. Like it should not be a surprise. And by the way, we're sitting here talking about the Chicago defensive coordinator should be the one that's like getting more criticism.
Yes.
Saleh, he's not sitting here with multiple starters out and on IR. Like again, do I think also like this whole idea like we're glazing? Nobody's sitting here throwing Robert Saleh parade.
Yeah.
by the way.
That's what I was gonna say is like we're definitely not glazing them, and I don't think that you should glaze them for sure. I just don't think that you really can be that critical of him in this particular game, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Yeah,
That's just me, Propa.
yeah, I,
Brother Bob says, "Wait, where is Kendrick?" I know, man. He's good, man. I don't know. Kendrick Bourne is good. He runs crisp routes. He knows how to get open. Would like to see more of him. But how can you quibble when this offense is putting up 40 plus? You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like, hey, let's clamor for Kendrick Bourne when that'll be the difference. I don't know about that. Jiva says 4th and 7, you gotta go, Kyle. 3 plays later, Bears were at midfield anyways. If offense is your strength, then stand on that. Enough with the analytics.
no, that wasn't analytics. This is a situation where you do trust your offense, but you also say, hey, I've got a punter who's worth their salt. Like they put the ball on the 11-yard line. You make it harder for their offense to go down and score a touchdown. And 4th and 7 is not a high probability play. It sucks to punt it, but they weren't punting it from the 34. They're punting it from the 47. I mean, I just think that in this situation, do you really want to put Caleb Williams at midfield? Now, did they get back there? Yes. Does that suck? Was it expected? Maybe. But also, I don't think that's analytics, actually. I think that was like, particularly that juncture of the game, you don't want to make it that much easier for the Bears to put you in a bad spot. And you got to trust your defense a little bit, at least, to make some mistakes, to do those things. And in the end, I get where you're coming from, Judas. I mean, but I don't. Kyle also went for it on 4th down, like 4th and 3, a 4th and 4, which he didn't used to do. He didn't used to trust his quarterbacks. And that being said, I think you're onto something. Is that I think you're going to see Kyle be like, hey, I can't trust this defense. I'm not kicking field goals because field goals aren't going to win me games. And that's what I want to see. I want to see this team say it's touchdown or nothing, because like it ain't going to work. Kicking 40 or it just so.
Yeah, it's you're right. I mean, I don't know, it's tough. I'm not going to crucify Kyle for that play call for sure, but I can also kind of see where you're coming from too. 808 Niner says you can't give up 3rd and long every week. I don't expect the D to play good, but 3rd and 10 plus, and they're dropping 8 yards back and letting guys get behind them. It's focus and details that the D is missing. That's a good point. I will say that, that has happened at times. Like you're playing everybody underneath that, but that's mental lapses, is that going back to the Sala thing? And I know 808's not saying that. Like that's not on Sala. He's putting these guys in a position to make and they're just not.
Well, I also Ben Johnson came out of halftime and he said, "Hey, what do you need to improve?" He said, "We were 0 for 3 on 3rd down. They were 5 for 7." So in the first half, they actually did stop it. They actually did. The first 2 drives, they made the Bears punt, right? Like those are the type of things where it's like, hey, there were some moments there, but it unraveled quickly.
Yeah. Killa Mig says Brock shutting Grant the F up. Love it. Well, I mean, I think that most people would probably lump me in with Grant as well. So I'm surprised
Grant's
you wouldn't have thrown me in there.
Right.
But I will say this, just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because he is. I mean, this is the fourth out of 5 weeks that we've come on here and been like, man, he's looks really good. But this is a week to week league, and you got guys like Josh Allen, who's been an MVP, that will have a bad game, and everybody acts like the sky's falling then. So the same thing can happen to Purdy. If he comes out and lays an egg next week or the week out, like this gets very temperamental with quarterbacks in the NFL. It can happen to any quarterback. It doesn't matter how good you are or how good you're playing. All it takes is one, and then you're not going to like the comment. So just enjoy it. I would say just enjoy it. Too Much Sauce says, would a road playoff game actually help us stay hungry in the postseason? I think this team is going to be hungry no matter what. This is a team that's fought tooth and nail all year long. I don't think it makes a difference. Do you, David?
No. And I think that you're going to see, I was going to talk, but no, I think that Hungary, I mean, this team has already got their back up against the wall all year. You know, they've defied all the odds. And I know that sounds like a platitude or a cliche, but it's true. And
Mm.
I think if there's all these guys find things to motivate them, it doesn't matter. They'll find anything. I don't think a road home, whatever. This team wants to be. This team needs a bye. They had a week 14 bye week. It's a late bye week. People say, "Oh, it's good." No, it's not. um, they could use that time. And so the guy who made the short week, that is part of the storyline here, though, is that both teams though are playing on it, so you got no excuses. Um, will be an interesting wrinkle.
Absolutely. GTC Reels wants to know where the wood paneling is. He's on the road.
Bro,
Okay.
bro, I'm in pretty country. I'm in Iowa. Okay. I'm in the home of the Luther Norse. It's a college here, a little small college here. But it's a great little town, man. It got cold as hell tonight, but there's some lots of mountain biking trails, lots of bluff country. Everybody thinks Iowa is flat. It's only in central Iowa, but on the interstate, but it's very hilly, very lots of really cool old oak forests, really beautiful. But yeah, man, I'm missing it too. Trust me, I'm feeling very sterile in here. I'm feeling very. I don't have my microphone and my camera. I'm feeling like look like I'm sunburned because I'm sitting here with bad lighting. And why me? Here I am with my look at that. Look at my got my lamps. Look at that. Ooh, look at that. That's
Ooh,
cool.
look at that.
I should have been doing this all
Look at
night.
that Blair Witch thing going on. All you need is a runny nose now.
Doing this all night.
49ers fan for life. Took what I said personally. I was obviously, I don't think you're on drugs. And if you are, then I'll pray for you. It was a figure of speech. But you said drugs are bad. I don't do them. What has Allen done in the playoffs? And oh, yeah, what has Lamar done in the playoffs? Listen, the Lamar thing is completely legit. Lamar needs to play better in the playoffs. But this thing where we associate wins with the quarterback, I do this every so often, and so I always have the stats readily available. So here we go. I'll do it once again. I assume I'll have to do it when the Bills lose in the playoffs because this is what we do. And again, when the comparison is Brock Purdy to Josh Allen, okay, let's do that. But you're also comparing another guy who hasn't won a Super Bowl either. So like what, because he's made it to, it's the same thing we do with Joe Burrow. So I'm going to take Brock Purdy out of it because a lot of people do the same thing with Joe Burrow specifically because he's made it to a Super Bowl like Brock and he's considered an elite quarterback. So let's do playoff numbers between Josh Allen and Joe Burrow quickly, and then we'll move on. Josh Allen, total yards per game in the playoffs, 310 yards. Joe Burrow, 275 yards. Completion percentage, Josh Allen, 65.7. Joe Burrow, 67.3. Playoff numbers. Touchdowns per game, Josh Allen, 2.46. Joe Burrow, 1.43. In case you're keeping track, that's nearly double. Turnovers per game, Josh Allen, 0.46. Joe Burrow, 0.57. Josh Allen across the board is not only better than Joe Burrow by a wide margin when it comes to individual contribution, but he hasn't played in a Super Bowl. And not only that, but Josh Allen, statistically speaking, is arguably the most efficient quarterback of all time when it comes to playoff statistics. So we can do the whole win-loss thing, but what has he done? I don't know. What more could he do? What more could he do?
It's just funny, guys, that I think people think that you're talking about Josh Allen like he's like a cult niche player like Jesse or me or anybody else. Like when I say Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league, as if that's a hot take. Like if you think that's a hot take, like I'm not saying that you have to think he's the number one quarterback in the league, but there's other guys that do that. But to say that it's a hot take, to ask the question, what has Allen done? It's just, I mean, all due respect, $5. I mean, but like drugs are bad.
Yeah. They are. Prabha says, with Salah, guys tonight didn't know where to be pre-snap. People running on and off the field last second and after play penalties. We got to clean that up for sure. I don't disagree with that. But again, you just don't know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's this going back to a comment that our friend Marco made very early on. Actually, when I talked about, I want Salah to be more exotic. his specific response back, and I thought it was a good one, was all that is great when you put it on paper, but when you put it into practice and you got a bunch of players that don't know what they're doing, they can get lost easily. So let's consider how many players were out. The secondary was remade. You've got, a bunch of guys that are in and out of the lineup. Is it possible that maybe those guys don't necessarily know what they're doing and it's not on solid? I don't know. Just
Can
throwing
we
that out
go?
there.
Can we please go back to thinking about the Brian Hoyer, CJ Beathard days of 2017? Before Jimmy came into the fold, when they were 0-9, okay, 1-9. Did people say? I'm sure we did at the time because it was new, it was fresh. But like, is Kyle Shanahan a shitty coach because he was dealing with a skeleton crew on offense? What DC in the world would be doing much better? And by the way, there actually have been quite a few games this year where the Niners have absolutely exceeded expectations with the skeleton.
Oh yeah, yes.
It's just that was not the norm, and we tried telling everybody that in these post games, like this is gonna regress to the mean. It's really regressed to the mean, but like this is who they are. Like this is what happens when you have third string players playing in the NFL against first string players. I don't know how many times we have to say this. It doesn't mean we're glazing or absolving Salah of any critique, but like let's be real, guys. Like even as a teacher, it's like if I'm teaching a AP class and I'm not trying to but if I got a kid who's in 11th grade that's on a 6th grade reading level and they sign up to take a college world history class that I teach and score essays for, like that kid is not prepared for that class. That kid is being put in a position that's a lose-lose for them because I can tailor a class to them with their needs, but they're not going to be there. So my results as a teacher, like that kid's not going to get a passing score on the exam. And if that goes to my school board, they say, "Oh, see, look, how come this kid?" There's just certain things that you don't make up for. It doesn't mean the kid couldn't have a good education. These players won't grow, but they're not going to produce in the level that you want them to, no matter how much you try to will it in your mind. And so I think that I don't know how you can sit here and grade Robert Saleh point for point, like without being on a curve in this situation. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I will say, to be fair, at the very end of that, you're right. That has to be cleaned up. I just don't know that that's a solid problem, I guess. I don't know. Sean says 50. Oh, go ahead.
Jess, I got a dip soon.
You got to go. Yeah. I got 4 left. So let's fire through them real quick. Sean says I got to as well. It's 1 a.m. Sean says 54 yards was Bryce's passing yards. Total 457 was Staff's. Against us, I guess. I don't know. I guess I still don't understand the question. I'm sorry, brother. I know you're trying. I don't understand the question still. Brother Bob says I was talking about Eric Kendricks, not Kendrick Bourne. Okay, that's totally fair. I don't know. He wasn't on a roster. Are you gonna get the great production out of him? He's older. He's not. I don't know, man. Samir says, "Cheers, fella. Cheers, fellas. Cheers." Appreciate you, Samir. Joe says, "Only positivity, Jesse. Don't put bad juju out there." All right, I'm trying. GTC Real says, "Did anyone give Huff some love on the edge contain?" You just did, GTC. You just did. All right, listen, it is 1 a.m. We got 1,700 watching strong between Twitter and YouTube. David, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate everybody in the chat. I'll be back tomorrow with Coach. And until tomorrow, go Niners. Much love. Peace.